Hi, this is your host, Kristen Howe, with Manifest Everything Now, discovering the secrets to effortless manifestation. I'm so excited to welcome you to our call with today's guest, Morgana Rae. Morgana is an internationally acclaimed life coach, author, and professional speaker. She is regarded as the world's top relationship with money coach and was named one of the top women in e-commerce by We Magazine. Morgana is the owner of Charmed Life Coaching, a successful life and business coaching company that guides clients to be business and money magnets. Morgana inspires everyone to have more fun at work and more love at home while creating a total life of ease, flow, and synchronicity. And you're going to love this call. With Morgana today, you will discover how to uncover your hidden blocks to abundance. And I'm going to tell you right now, they are not what you think. You'll discover how to abolish your financial anxiety. You'll discover a new way of setting fees that gets you what you want and deserve and feels really good. That's huge for those of you that are in business. You'll discover how to become irresistibly attractive to money and love. You'll find out how to take a quantum leap toward creating the wealth and abundant relationships that you deserve, and you'll find out the 6 steps of the financial alchemy process. So this is exciting. I can't wait to get going. Morgana, thank you so much for joining us today, and welcome to the call.
Oh, my pleasure.
I love everything that you have to offer because you have such a unique take on things, and I think people really go, oh, I've never heard it that way before, so I can't wait to share you with everybody. Before I do, though, can you give us just a sort of a brief view into your history and give us some idea of how you got to where you are now? I mean, you're manifesting some amazing things. We were just talking about it. This has been your best year yet, so can you let us know how you got here?
Well, the irony of offering something different than anybody else is teaching is that it came actually out of a really painful place of applying everything I could find to solve my problem, and nothing was working. And this is no criticism of law of attraction and millionaire mindset and sales classes and business and all that kind of stuff. It was just I was not getting the answer to my problem. And it was really, really hard. So if you're listening out there and you've been trying everything and it hasn't been working, I want to say to you that it's not your fault. You just haven't had the right tool. And sometimes I believe that when you're doing everything you're supposed to do and nothing is working, it's because you are birthing something new that the world needs. So in my case, I have always done everything that I was told in terms of being a really good student, and there's so many promises made to us. If you get good grades, then you'll make money and you'll live comfortably and all that kind of stuff. Complete nonsense. I graduated with honors from an Ivy League school, had absolutely no bearing on my ability to make money. I had the website and the business cards and the brochures and the fancy schmancy coaching certification and the success stories and everything, the elevator speech. I'm such a good student. And I still wasn't able to make money. I think that the part of us that studies and wants to give value and wants to help people is just a very different part of the brain and a different skill set and even a different value system than the getting paid part. And I was just one of the most dire examples because I could help a new actor or a new writer get on a hit TV series, and I still was struggling to make $100 a month. And I was working with the best coaches, and I was taking all the best classes and reading the books and doing everything you're supposed to do, and nobody could understand, least of all myself, why nothing was working. And it felt so unfair that I had a real crisis with being alive because I knew what I wanted to do with my life. I finally knew what my talent was and what my purpose was, and so what? I couldn't make a living at it, and it was so painful and so unjust, and this is why I'm so passionate about helping people now, because I know how wrong and how dangerous this situation can be. And when I guess I would say when I was really at the bottom of this pit of despair, I had taken this class on overcoming sales objections, thinking that, that would be the solution. I'm making no money, but I'm still like pouring money out on classes and coaches and all that. And 7 people in a row said they would hire me, and none of them showed up. And I hadn't gotten paid by a single one. And I just broke down. I despaired. And in this place, and I won't even say I surrendered. I absolutely did not surrender. I was so angry. And while I was in this place where I had pulled the curtains and I was on my bed and I was crying my heart out, hating life, I heard this voice in the back of my head saying money had to be my next area of spiritual growth. Because I'm really comfortable with being spiritual and being of service. And I had to see money as part of that picture to be able to do what I wanted to do and help people on the magnitude that I really dream of helping people. So that was the first piece. And the second piece at that moment was I had this weird suspicion that there was something in me that couldn't be with money. Because really, it was like I had a superhuman ability to push money away. It was weird. People wanted to hire me, and somehow I magically would talk them out of it or put up an obstacle without any conscious awareness that I was doing it. So that's like the really sad story of my background, and that we're talking 10 years ago was when all this was going on. And it was soon after I made this decision that money was my next area of spiritual growth, and I had to find out what was going on inside of me that was repelling money. I was really fortunate because, as I said, making no money for rent, no money for food, going through any savings I have, living on credit, and still working with a coach. And my coach showed up on our next session in a moment of inspiration. And he asked me 2 questions that changed my life and set me on this path where I'm here hoping to serve you and catalyze a similar change in your life if you desire. And the first thing he asked me, which is kind of a very reasonable, not all that weird coaching question, but was exactly what I needed to hear at the time. He asked me what had gone on with money growing up. And because I've been on this personal development path forever, and I'm not a victim, and I'm personally responsible for myself and all that, blah, 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 I hadn't thought about some huge things that had happened when I was a kid. Family betrayals, a stolen inheritance, a stolen college trust fund from the people who were supposed to love and protect me. And all this went on when I was maybe 12 and 14 years old, and I made very, very good decision at the time to ignore it. Family members were telling me different stories, trying to put me in the middle of a fight, have me choose sides, and I really didn't have the information and really shouldn't be taking sides at that age. So I made a very good decision to just ignore it and choose to love everybody and just decide, oh, well, this is between the grown-ups. What I didn't know was that it really affected me. It was a deep hurt and betrayal. And I didn't know that at that time I made a decision that money got in the way of love and I would choose love. And I still choose love. In fact, the reason nobody's thing was working for me was because nobody had really given me a way to make money by putting love first. I sort of needed to invent a way to put money and love on the same team in a way nobody else had done before. So the second question that my coach asked me was the game changer. This is the one that you want to lean in and write down right now. He asked me, if your money was a person, who would your money be? And I was really lucky because I was in so much pain. And I was so connected to the hurt and the betrayal and, this awareness that, wow, I guess I do have money issues that I hadn't thought I had. But I didn't even have to be consciously aware of that. I was in so much pain at that moment that as soon as he asked that question, I saw who my money was. And he was big, and he was scary, and he was dirty, and he was violent. And I wanted to stay far away from him. He was this big, scary, dirty, violent biker, with the tattoos and the big sideburns and all that kind of. Some girls like that guy. I'm not that girl. And when I saw how I wanted to create maximum distance between myself and the biker, for the first time in my life, everything made sense. Because if that guy was my money, there was no way I could have money in my life. So I really had been pushing it away for safety on this unconscious level that doesn't make any sense consciously, because consciously we all know that we need money to pay for food and shelter and health care and survival. But it's not what's going on in your conscious mind. It's not your mindset. That's the problem. It's the stuff that you aren't aware of, the emotional truth, the hurt and the fear that every time in your life that you've said, I can't afford it, or somebody told you that you couldn't have it because of the money, very slowly over time, money became a bigger and bigger bad guy. The number one excuse for anything you can't have or do or be in life. What a jerk. So when I saw my monster and it was so clear to me why there wasn't money in my life, I knew that I needed to change that relationship. First, I had to get rid of the biker. There was no way I was going to have money in my life if that was my money. So I got rid of the biker, and that created a new problem that I never imagined having, which was, great, yay, it's gone. Whew, like deep breath of relief. And then, oh no, I just rejected and got rid of my relationship with money. What do I do now? Because I felt this huge hole, and I knew that I needed money to function, but I didn't want that money to come back. I needed a new relationship with money, and so I was really quickly scrambling, asking myself, well, who could I have in my life who I would want so much that I could be with this person even though it's money? This is really, really important, not because it's money. It had to be a relationship so desirable on its own terms that cash was irrelevant. If you've ever been in a really abusive relationship, whether it's family or romantic or friends or at work, you don't want to jump into that kind of relationship again. You feel kind of gun shy. So I had to make this relationship so safe and so wonderful that it would overwhelm all my past feelings of hurt and aversion. And again, lucky for me, I've got an overactive imagination, and up popped my new money, what I call my money honey. And he was tall, dark, handsome, and romantic, which also I found out when I started doing this for clients, that my money honey was this romantic figure. Turns out to be really important, and I'll talk about that later. But just to let you know, I see this person, and this person feels so real to me. And the deepest shock was that it felt like he had been there for a very long time, and I could feel how much he loved me and how I had been breaking his heart all those years. that I'd been pushing him away and rejecting him and being embarrassed to state my fee and being embarrassed to accept payments. And I felt so bad that I had hurt his feelings that way, this person so worthy of my love, that I just blurted out, what do you need from me so you can stay with me? I didn't want to hurt him anymore. And do you hear how this whole relationship is based on love? It wasn't based on what I could get from him or what he had done wrong or what I wanted from him at all. It was, oh my God, you love me and I love you. What do you need? And he told me. And this is the amazing thing when you make money a person instead of a field of energy or an exchange of value or a tool. Ew. Kristen, how would you like it if I called you a tool? You know, it's a person, and this person responds. He told me what he needed, and it was so sweet. All he wanted was my love, and he wanted me to stop treating him like a monster so he could be with me. Now, loving him is very different than this biblical injunction against loving money is the root of all evil. There's nothing greedy or cruel or unfair or scarce or evil about my love for this guy or my desire to be a loving relationship partner. It's an unconditional love. It's not conditional. The relationship is not conditional on how many, digits are in my bank account. Now, being a human being, I'm going to raise my hand and be transparent on this call, doesn't mean that I haven't freaked out, gotten mad, and had fights, my money honey. And the wonderful thing about this relationship is I get to do that, and then we get to make up. The law of attraction gods have never come and struck me down because I had a negative feeling or a negative thought. Some of the greatest things in my life have happened when I was in the worst state. And some of the worst things in my life happened when I was happy. Because that's what life is like. And it's how you respond. And it's having the tools to help you use whatever happens and find the opportunity and bounce back better. That's the real goal in life. That's why I call this process alchemy, because alchemy is the transmutation of lead into gold, lead in human experience into gold, and that makes the lead really, really valuable. You have not failed. You're not a bad person. The bad things that happen to you are not your fault for having a low vibration. It's just you require some material to turn into gold. You've been given this stuff that you really don't like. I should include stuff happens that I really don't like, and it's the key to the kingdom. Being able to use it is much more valuable than hoping it never happens. Because no matter how high we vibrate, we are going to die eventually. So let's have as good an experience as we can in this lifetime, no matter what. So I've sort of been telling my story and sharing my philosophy, and I haven't really named the steps. Would that be useful for me to name the steps right now?
You literally took the question out of my mouth. I was going to say, okay, so you just mentioned financial alchemy, and I know there are 6 steps. So, yeah, if you could take us through, that would be amazing.
Okay. So the first step is uncovering the root cause. Now, I was just lucky because it kind of happened accidentally for me because I had a fabulous intuitive coach who was never able to recreate this with anybody else. And I know why, because it took me a few hundred people in a few years to really figure out what had happened for me so that I could replicate it for everybody else. So the first step is uncovering the root cause. And an easy place to start is negative stuff about money. the challenge for my brothers and sisters who practice the law of attraction is that we have trained ourselves to have such a positive attitude and to even be afraid of having negative feelings, because really, who wants to? I don't. So the challenge to really make this work is to dive into the negative and make it as big and bad as possible, because what happens is you build energy, you build tension, you build this momentum, and the farther you can go into the darkness, and there's a purpose to it, the farther you will go into the opposite. It's like a slingshot, and we really want to create that level of tension to fling you over to the other side. There's no transformation in neutrality. So in alchemy, way back in Latin with these, European alchemists in the Middle Ages, they called step number 1 nigritio, the blackening. And that's where you're looking for the root cause of your money monster. Because if you're not making enough money, or you're not getting paid what you deserve, or you're making a lot of money but you lose it, or people have cheated you, or maybe you have a lot of money and you become the bank, where you're not really being loved for you, you're being used for your resources. And I've coached a lot of people in that situation too, which gives you a great reason to get rid of your money, and we don't want that. Any of that going on, those are signs that you're in a relationship with the money monster, that your financial situation is a direct reflection of this unconscious relationship with money. It's easier to see when your bank account sucks, but I've also worked with people with tens and hundreds of millions of dollars, even a billionaire, and they had a lot of the same issues people who are struggling to make money have. It really can be an area of pain across the board that I want to get rid of. So I'm going to give you a big, big secret here. And this is a make or break secret, absolutely necessary to make this process work, is that the real root cause is never really about money. It's always about issues of love and worthiness and safety. Your money monster is all the broken promises of a lifetime. Like I mentioned, go to school, yeah, you'll be fine. Yeah, right. Oh, take this program and you'll become a millionaire. No. I promise to love and adore you for the rest of my life. No. Any broken heart, anytime you were teased or abused or hurt or scared or felt not good enough, or anything out there that you saw was unjust and made the world an unsafe place, all of that, that's where you're going to find your money monster. So when I'm coaching somebody, and my desire is actually, if I can help everybody on the planet with this and never coach another person, that would be awesome. I really want everybody to be able to get this wherever they are in the journey. So it's the stuff that doesn't appear to have anything to do with money. That's where the money monster really is. Your relationship with money is at its heart really about what money represents. And if something in you doesn't feel lovable or worthy or safe, it's going to show up in your money, because money is like the gatekeeper to everything else. It's our relationship with life and the universe, and it's that part of life that is lacking love and needs to be transformed first. So that's step number 1, is uncover the root cause. And I know I spent a lot of time on it, but every step has to be completed before the next one will work. You cannot have the money honey without finding the money monster first. That's why the lead is so important. Because if you have both, nothing changes. Your money monster will always get in the way of the money honey. So you uncover the pain. and then you personify it. The kids who called you fat, that's where you're going to find your money monster. You personify all of it, and we make it a monster, and we make it outside of you, because that becomes really important in step number 3. Another thing is, it's no matter what your parents did to you, and I have heard everything, stuff I really, really wish had never happened. No matter how monstrous your parents were, and some of you have great parents and some of you have really monstrous parents, your monster is not your parent. Your monster is bigger than your parents. Your monster used your parents to hurt you. This is a very personal relationship. This is what it feels like on the subconscious level where you create your reality. That's what we're working with here. That's why the change can be so big and happen so fast. I mean, very recently, a woman who was listening to a program very much like this and then bought the continuing education offer at the end, she did the process with the tools that I'm going to make available to you, and she made $86,000 the next day. In fact, it was overnight. She woke up and received $86,000 and had this really clear, vivid, beautiful relationship with her money honey, which I'll talk about later. We're on step number 2, which is personifying the monster. You want to make it as big and as bad as possible. You want to make it really real. I love stuff like, what does it smell like? What does it look like? What does it feel like? What does it say to you? And when it's real, and it has to be all bad, because it has to be bad enough that you're willing to get rid of it even though it's money. I don't want to hear anything about money being energy or neutral, blah, 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 blah. Not going to save your life here, because the monster will kill you if it gets to. This is very important to understand, because in the next step, you have to get rid of it. It has to be so bad and so awful that you are willing to get rid of it by whatever means possible, necessary. You must get rid of it. Now, I work almost exclusively with the nicest, sweetest light workers of the world. And you guys are a bloodthirsty lot. And there can be a lot of resistance here. No, you are not going to forgive the money monster. You are not going to integrate the money monster. You are going to eradicate the money monster and get rid of the bloody bits. Lightsaber, machete, machine gun, fiery pit, sharks, flamethrower. One client ran over her monster with a monster truck. I love it. Whatever you need to do, it's not just you or the monster. If you have children, you do not want to pass your monster on to them. The monster will not just go after you, but will torture and destroy everything you love, because that's what it is. You must get rid of it. And it's sort of like being pregnant. It's either is or isn't. The monster is gone or it's not. If you aren't sure if it's gone, it's not. Because when it's gone, it feels shocking. Because you've been in this relationship your whole life, even if you didn't know it. Every negative thought, every time you've said something bad to yourself, your self-criticism, your despair, your discouragement, all of that, that's your money monster. So when you have destroyed it and gotten rid of it, and you're without it for the first time in your life, it feels weird. It can feel scary. In fact, that's kind of one of the ways the monster holds on is the being without it, the unfamiliarity of it, can be scary. And when I hear that, that's like, yay, that's a good thing. I know that the person's on the right track. It doesn't have to be, but if it is, great. It's a good sign. Because what we want to do is we want to create a vacuum. And it's funny because I've coached thousands of people over the last 10 years. I coach very few people one-on-one now, but I've coached a lot of people, and so many times I'll hear things from clients like, this is my favorite, is the sun comes out. I get such a kick that I seem to have these supernatural powers that I'm sitting in LA and in Scotland the sun came out when somebody killed their money monster. I hear the rooms look lighter, feel lighter. Just, this is stuff I listen for. When it's gone, you know it. And the harder it is to get rid of, all the better, because we want your monster to be really big and bad. Because the payoff is no matter how big and bad your monster is, your money honey, the opposite of your monster, is going to be even bigger and more powerful. So step number 3 is getting rid of the monster. Step number 4 is meeting your money honey. I used to say create your money honey years ago, and this is the value of having done this for so long with so many people. I learn something new every time I coach. And the more it feels like your money honey is already there, already his own person or her own person, it doesn't feel like you had to create it. It's like, oh, does it look like Johnny Depp or does it look like Denzel Washington? There's none of that. He just kind of shows up, like with Lynn Swanson, dressed up in that silly white suit from Saturday Night Fever, and she kept trying to imagine him in something else, and he just really wanted to dress in the white suit. That's how I knew she really had her money honey, because he was his own person. So it was not any surprise when, after she did what her money honey told her to do, she made tens of thousands of dollars in 2 minutes. 2 minutes between taking the action and the money showing up. Such a fun story. So step 5, you got your person here, and it works best if your money honey is a lover. Not absolutely necessary. You can start with a transitional money honey, but I will give you some rules. It's not Oprah, it's not Gandhi, it's not your higher self, it's not your fairy godmother. It's not God. It's an equal. It's a partner. The great thing about a lover is lovers are equal. And lovers are vulnerable. You can actually break your money honey's heart when you betray yourself, when you undervalue yourself, when you ignore him and push him away. It hurts his heart. But there's something so yummy and joyful and motivating about erotic love. Napoleon Hill has a whole chapter on sexual transmutation. But he doesn't make the connection of making money your lover, which would kind of, save a step. Because the great thing about the money honey is your money honey isn't a real person. Your money honey is perfect. Doesn't have any agenda, that has no insecurities, has no agenda except loving you and desiring your happiness. And because we make it a person, then you get to talk. And that's step number 5, is talking to your money. Money, what do you need from me? Money, what do you want me to do here? Money, what would make you happy? And by the way, the subtext is the best way to make your money happy is your own happiness. So whether it's going out and getting a pedicure or doing your taxes, there's always this self-care component that it has to do with integrity and has to do with your highest good and your ultimate happiness. That's how you make your money honey happy. It's never at your own sacrifice. Maybe you don't feel like doing what your money wants you to do that day, but it's always for you, ultimately. So that's step number 5, is having this conversation with your money honey. And then step number 6 is action. And this is the biggest piece. I mean, they all are, but magic doesn't happen, despite a lot of stories that I have of money seeming to just show up. Like I talked about Caroline Connis, the money just landed in her bank account the next day. It was money she was owed for a year. Finally, she didn't do anything different. It just changed. And now she's in a relationship with money, taking action to make him happy. We're coaching together one-on-one for a year, and she's making more money, and she's happier, and there's just so much more where the cash, the dollars, that's just the frosting. It's almost the least of it. But back to step number 6 is there's something magical about action. It takes it out of being just a good idea, and it gives it physical reality. It demonstrates to you and your money that the relationship has changed. It empowers you. It helps you serve your purpose in the world. And the more you learn about being a great relationship partner with money and a great relationship partner with yourself, the more you help your money help you. What we don't want is we don't want you sitting on the couch waiting for your money honey fairy to do it for you or rescue you, because then you're really just back in a relationship with a money monster and helpless and being disappointed. Not an improvement at all, really. So action is important. Katie Curtin, one of my favorite examples, I did a live coaching demo on a public teleclass with her years ago, and her money honey wanted her to go skating, which really doesn't make any sense at all in terms of making money. And she was tens of thousands of dollars in debt, and she made a commitment that she was going to go skating in the darkness of December in Canada, really, really cold, and she didn't do it, and nothing changed. And another day went by, and she didn't do it. Nothing changed. The third day, she took her son out skating, came home, got a phone call, and received $10,000 without even asking for it. And I have endless examples just like this. It happens when you take the action, whatever the action is. Lynn Swanson, her money honey, wanted her to transfer money from one bank account to another. Another woman in terrible financial anxiety owed tons of money by clients, and they weren't paying. And she didn't even have enough money to meet payroll that week. And she changed her relationship with money, and money told her to transfer money from one bank account to another, which was going to do absolutely nothing for her situation. But she did it. And when she came back from the bank and got in the car and turned on the radio, remember that her money honey was dressed like John Travolta in Saturday Night Fever. She turns on the radio, and the Bee Gees are playing the song from Saturday Night Fever. And it took her a second to get it, and then she laughed like you are right now. Because that's sweet. That's really cute. Yeah. And then she stopped to pick up some coffee on the way back to the office to get some coffee for one of her employees, and she's standing in line checking her email on her smartphone the way we all do now. And she had an email from a client that they had invoiced that day for a large 5-figure sum of money. And the email she got back was that that client was wiring the money that day. The money was not due for weeks. And he was wiring it that day even though he didn't have to. And the money was going to more than cover her debt and cover her payroll. And she looked at the timestamp on her bank deposit, and she looked at the timestamp on the email, and the difference was 2 minutes. What took him so long? Come on. And that's step number 6, is do what your money honey tells you to do because it's good for you, whatever it is. And if it's not your money honey.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I get asked that all the time. How do I know if it's my money honey? What does it feel like? How do I know if it's my money honey or me? It is. It's both. But when we can hear our money honey as a person outside of ourselves, we get a different picture of ourselves. When we see the way, and I'm just, because mine is a guy, he looks like Clive Owen. When I see the way he sees me, I look different because I see myself through his eyes. So, whatever my shape is, size, shape, height, age, all that kind of stuff, I'm his type. Whatever I got, it's what he likes. And that affects the way I see myself. And then a really nice, totally unexpected side benefit of this work is you become really attractive to other people, to money, to clients, and dating prospects.
I love it.
And husbands and wives, your own. It's one of my favorite, absolutely favorite side benefits of this work is I hear all the time from clients who are on the verge of divorce when they hired me and are back in love in days or weeks. Because when you have this hot, sexy, romantic money honey who is like getting you feeling all gorgeous and aroused, it's really kind of cool if you already have a partner. They pick up on it. And if you don't have a partner, historically, you start to attract interest. And that's fun too.
Yeah, and it makes complete sense that it would sort of open you up in every area of your life. I mean, think about it. If you think about when you first fall in love in life, everything else seems to start to flow. So that makes complete sense. I love that. What a cool side benefit.
As soon as you're in love and you've got a boyfriend, every other guy on earth is into you?
Absolutely.
Now you can do that, and you don't have to wait for an actual guy.
See? It's awesome. Well, and I also love, here you are, you even put it this way, you've become irresistible to money and love, and success and all of that, which makes sense because we're vibrating in that frequency. I'd love for you to speak because I love that you gave us the 6 steps and you've really, you've revealed so much. You do that and you're amazing and you're so giving. I would love if you could, because a lot of people listening, and these are some extraordinary people, a lot of them are in business for themselves, and that whole thing that you were talking about that was a struggle for yourself, can you talk a little bit more about how you said there's a new way of setting fees that gets you what you want and deserve, and it feels good? Because I know a lot of people feel bad. They feel guilty, or they feel like, oh, I can't ask for more money.
Yeah, I'd love to share my top secret little strategy for that. And the more of a people pleaser you are, the better. Because here's what I do, is when I'm setting fees, I ask my money honey. Now, here's the thing. It doesn't work to make him a monster or be embarrassed or to push him away. It just doesn't make sense anymore because that hurts his feelings or it breaks her heart. And then what kind of a cat are you? So you want to be a good person, and you want to make this loving person happy. So the first time this happened was a gazillion years ago in the dark ages, back in 2005, when I got my first really major speaking gig where I was speaking at the 10th Annual International Coaches Federation Conference in San Jose, and I was really excited. And I realized I had never actually taught this publicly before, so I thought, ooh, I better throw together a really quick workshop and practice it and try it out, and I'm going to do it for free. And oh, my Lord, my money stamped his foot and said, don't you dare insult me like that. And then we had to negotiate how much to charge. And he said 200, and I said 10, and we went back and forth until I charged the minimum that I could charge and have him feel respected. And it turns out I made thousands of dollars at a workshop that I was going to do for free. Total sold out. And that was my first experience doing that. What happens is undercharging starts to become so physically uncomfortable you can no longer do it because it hurts too much. It feels like self-betrayal. In fact, you don't even want to do the work anymore if you're going to be that out of integrity. Clients, to a T, they all share the same thing. They say, when I tried to say the smaller fee, it felt like I was lying. I couldn't do it. And you become more attractive the more honest and the more fair and the more in integrity you are. People actually want to pay you more because they are investing in themselves. They are voting on their own potential, and they feel like they're really doing something for themselves and that they're going to get value. So set your fee not based on how you vote on yourself that day. Set your fee not on what you imagine to be going on with the other person. All you do is you work it out with your money honey. What would make your money honey feel valued and feel like you're being valued? And then give an invitation to the person to hire you or not. And that's how I went from struggling to make $100 a month to now being able to make $100,000 in a month.
I love that. And it's such a clear way of approaching it that I think a lot of people will really be able to gain benefit from that. So thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Oh, you're welcome. Absolutely. Use all of your powers of codependency and people-pleasing for good. Make your money happy.
That's perfect. What a great way of looking at it. Now I have a question for you, and I know you've shared quite a few success stories throughout, but I would love, are there, two more that you could share with us, that just because I love for people to really take in what is possible for them with this. So do you have one or two that you could share with us that are extra than what you've already shared, which are extraordinary stories?
I could go on forever. It's actually really hard to choose because I get these emails every day, and they affect me differently because some are about the dollar amounts and some are about the inner shift. And I'm actually going to share something that really isn't about money, but is one of the most beautiful, important things that I heard this year. There's a woman, and she actually has shared this publicly, but her full name, but I'll just call her Patty. And when she and I talked, and her financial situation was awful, and she said that her money honey wanted her to quit smoking. And I knew that her money couldn't be with her while she was killing herself. It was just too painful for him. I told her that, and she didn't make the change right away. Her financial situation had to get worse and worse and worse until she just could not ignore it anymore. So in that way, it's like her money honey loved her so much that he was going to make her that uncomfortable that she had to listen, and she quit smoking. And her finances got better and better and better. But more important than that is she wrote this long piece about loving herself for the first time, feeling beautiful, feeling joy. And then I got an email from her about a month ago that she had gone through a really stressful period, and she bought a pack of cigarettes, and that day she blew out a tire. And then the next day she smoked another pack, and she blew out another tire. And the third day she suddenly lost all this money, and that was it. She quit smoking again.
How funny.
Is that cool or what? It's so much bigger than cash. It's really a choice between life and death. Our ability to receive and have money and feel worthy and participate in life is a choice to choose life. And that's really what your money monster is that not worthy of living piece. That when you get rid of it, it's like the whole world opens up, and you really can manifest what you want in perfect congruency, and it can come really big and fast and in all areas, and not just about money, really truly about love and purpose and why you're here to be alive.
Which is just beautiful. And I want to talk to you in a minute about, people like to hear about what are some of the quick results that they can get as well as the long term. We'll talk about that in a second. What I want to do first is I know you put together a special offer for everybody listening. Okay, the link. Everybody go here now so you can experience this for yourself with Morgana talking you through it, which is very powerful. www.manifesteverythingnow.com/alchemy, spelled ALCHEMY. That's manifesteverythingnow.com/alchemy, spelled ALCHEMY. So, Morgana, go ahead, take it away, and let us know what we'll find there.
So I have shared everything that I could squeeze in the last hour, and I really don't hold anything back. I try to give you everything I can, and I also know a few things. You have been building your relationship with your money monster for a whole life, and anything worth mastering takes more than 60 minutes. It does, and I want everybody to have a breakthrough, and I also know from experience that if you're hearing me and hearing this material for the first time, you're lucky if you get even 30 or 40% of what I say, and you're missing a lot of nuances, which is why I hear from people for years who listen to every teleclass I teach, buy every product I have, and keep coming back, even after they've had successes. Like Ivy Angelina just sends me stories like every few months because you hear something new each time. So I really put a lot of thought into how to serve people who are new to the material and also how to give something extra to people who are coming back. So what I put together in this Abundance Manifest Your Abundance Breakthrough package, and it's new, and I'm actually including a new product that I created just for this, but I'm going to start with the financial alchemy stuff. For people who learn visually like I do and don't retain things you hear as well, I have an ebook so that you can read the process, and you can also, what's really cool is I've got the transcript of a live coaching demonstration with a complete stranger so you can see what it really looks like, because it's even though there are 6 steps, it's not as linear as you think, and you can see where she goes off track and I get her back on track. And so this is something that you can just go back to and back to and back to take yourself through the process the first time. And I also recommend that you do it again many times over the course of your life. You get rid of the first monster, and then there are other monsters out there. But once you know how, you become such a great monster killer. And each time you get a better, deeper, more real, more powerful, more intimate relationship with your money honey. So I've got the ebook for the visual learners. And then I created 2 separate classes, one on money and women. And I just got an email this week from someone who said that it took her so much deeper. And it's talking about women's relationship with money and how it relates to your relationship with your body and your sexuality and love. And then these poor guys, because I keep talking to women, I created a class just for guys because I've coached a lot of men. And the pain men feel when they feel anxious around money or they're not loved for themselves, it's tragic. It's really, we women don't even know how much men suffer in this area. So I created a class just for guys. And guys, if you're curious about the female experience, listen to the Women and Money. Women, if you want to understand your men better, listen to the Money and Men. So that stuff is really taking you through the process, some of which you heard here, some of which is going to sound different, or will include things that I missed this time round. And it's also something you can listen to over and over again and go deeper with it. And now here's the new stuff. I've been getting a lot of emails from people struggling to get rid of their money monster. And since you can't have a money honey until you get rid of your money monster, I listened. So I created a whole new product about getting rid of your money monster. And I give you strategies for it. And I also include a bunch of case studies where people wrote to me and they wrote, Morgana, my monster was this horrible thing and he looked like that and he did that and I killed him like this and that's how I met my money honey. And you can see it in action, because right now what I'm telling you while I try to share stories, it's kind of theoretical, and I think it helps to actually be able to see what other people did and what it looks like when it works. So it's a combination of me giving you advice and guidance and coaching, and then also seeing what it can look like so that you can say, oh, wow, that's a very interesting way to get rid of the monster. Let me try that, to make it real, and so that you see that you've got a community and that it works. So that's like, I'm very excited about that. I created that just for this. I also created this Money Honey checklist of likes and dislikes. And this is for your relationship with your money honey. Again, because I've coached so many thousands of people, I noticed patterns that will help guide you in this relationship, because your money honey is not a taskmaster. Your money honey loves you, and this was a really popular thing that I did, just creating a checklist of what I noticed over the years money likes and then money doesn't like. And then finally, this is something different, and it's actually not just for financial alchemy. This is going to the deeper question of patterns. This is really exciting. I created something that I've been doing privately with clients forever. And I do this at least once a year for New Year's, maybe for Halloween, maybe for a birthday, and I call this my Evolution Accelerator. If there's something you've been struggling with forever, like you could write the dissertation on this area of life that you just want to move past, this is for you. This is a tool for getting unstuck and manifesting your new life. And it's spooky magical, and it's easy. And here's the thing, is that a lot of people will tell you that it takes 21 days to create a new habit, and that change is hard, and that it takes a long time, and blah, blah, blah. I just don't live in that world. I like things to be quick and easy, and that's why I created this. And so this is an MP3 and a worksheet on my Evolution Accelerator, and it's a really magical way to release that old lesson and get the assistance you need in the direction you want to go. But really, this is the most valuable thing in the whole package, and this is really, really, really the reason to say yes. As you can hear, I give everything I can. I really do. I give everything I can in this call. I give everything I can in my products. I have such a desire to change the world and see change happen for anybody wherever you are in your journey. Again, wow, if everybody could have this transformation and I never had to coach again, even though I love to coach, but everybody in the world could have the transformation they want, that would be my dream. And I also know that no matter what I include, human beings are infinitely resourceful in coming up with their own obstacles. That's why I learn so much from you. So I am adding a bonus 90-minute group coaching call, because when you do the work yourself, a bunch of you are going to have great breakthroughs and success stories, and a bunch of you are going to have questions. And this is the way that I can answer your question without you having to hire me for tens of thousands of dollars. So this is a 90-minute group coaching call where you get direct access to me, because there is stuff that I can do when I talk to you and I get your specific questions. Then I can speak to you directly. And you can bring up things that I didn't think of in this call or weren't covered on this call, or I may not even know until I answer you. And there's this thing that people call the Morgana Effect. I get such a kick out of that. I didn't even make it up, where I talk to people and things happen. I was talking to an artist for maybe 15 minutes last year named Chris Galligan, and he made $100,000 in sales the next day, and he hadn't sold anything for months. I'm really lucky with people named Chris, apparently, because there's this other guy named Fabio who was on a call just like this, and he made $10,000 in 24 hours doing what his money honey told him to do. When he came to the call, what he thought was his money honey was really a monster in a dress. And I knew. I could hear it. I could make the adjustment. So the call itself is valued at $1,000. If you were in my coaching program, that's what this would cost. And I'm including it as a free bonus. So everything that I shared with you, the ebook, the MP3 audio classes, you get them all instantly. No shipping, no paying for shipping, no waiting, no customs. I'm so over that. You get it instantly. It's electronically delivered. Yay! So the actual value of all this stuff, if you bought it separately, if you could, is $1,853.80. And I'm offering this to you for $99. And I have a really strong reason for that, which is that every time you say, I can't afford it, you're feeding the monster. So I set it at a price point where you don't get to use that excuse. Even if it's stretchy for you, and I know it's stretchy for some people, it is a doable number because I'm just not going to collude with the monster. The only reason to not get it is because you want to stay the same, and that's your choice. But if you want this, I want you to have it, and that's why I'm pricing it at $99.
Yeah, I love that, and it is a doable number, and you're right, it might stretch you, but even some of the examples you've given us, and this is where I want to ask you this question about some of what we should expect to see pretty quickly, it seems like we would at least make that $99 back very quickly. Is that a fair assessment?
Well, here's the thing, because integrity is really important to me.
Sure.
There's an excitement and magic and stretchiness because you are telling yourself and you are telling your money honey that this is a top priority and this is important to you, and that's magical. And I can't control your financial outcome, so I would never make that promise. What the promise that I will make is that this has worked over and over and over for more people than I can even say the number, you know, because I get these emails every day. The change happens on the inside first. And when the change happens on the inside, the money almost feels like an afterthought. I talked about Caroline with her $86,000. But before the money showed up, she felt in love and love. She felt like this huge weight had lifted. She talks about this weight lifted, I think, from her left side. Laura Kane made $10,000 within 48 hours, $10,000 of new clients. And she said because she was having fun and she was spontaneous, oh, and she made money too. So it's your relationship with money. And if you want to know what to do to bring money in and how to make money, ask your money honey. And I'm here to support you if you need help. That's why we have the group coaching call.
Yeah, I love that because you support people in a very generous way where you really, I mean, you know, everybody listening, obviously you can tell Morgana is extremely passionate about this, but she's just unbelievably authentic in that. And I appreciate that about you. I think it's such a powerful thing about you that you're really there ready to support.
Yeah. I really can never promise or predict what is going to happen for any individual, but I can tell you, like, for instance, Sarah Horton was on a call like this, and she wrote, since purchasing your teleclass package and doing the deep money monster work and aligning with Money Honey, I immediately received new clients and a delinquent loan payment to total $8,000. Another great story I love, Connie Nash. Her Money Honey told her to dye her hair roots, put on makeup, and wear a dress, and she went outside and picked up a $1,600 client. This is what the process looks like. It's a relationship. And, yeah, I totally want you to make money. And the change happens on the inside first.
Of course. All change does.
Yeah.
You're just giving everyone a really unique and special way of making that change. And you're right, because it is all about the relationship, and I love that. So let me give the link to everyone once again. It is www.manifesteverythingnow.com/alchemy, spelled ALCHEMY. I highly encourage, I mean, you've heard some of these amazing stories and you've heard Morgana talk. I mean, she is the real deal, and this is just the coolest way of doing this because it pulls you out of yourself. It pulls you out of that, like, sort of self-critical voice in your head and develops the true relationship. Is that a good way of putting it?
And you never have to go through life alone again because stuff happens. But now when I make a business decision, I talk with my money honey, and I love seeing other people do this where they were going to go in one direction and their money honey said, no, don't. And they save themselves all this pain and all this expense. And there, again, is something wild about when you feel loved and when you stop pushing money away, and we have great reasons to push money away, and when you stop pushing money away, making money becomes really easy. Kind of like anything you stop pushing away, right?
Yeah, when you start to allow yourself to receive, things start flowing to you from everywhere. And I love that you brought up, this is not just about money. Money happens, but also then I love that you said, one of the awesome byproducts is you become attractive basically to everything in your life. And I think that's really, really cool. And Morgana, you've just been phenomenal on this call. I so appreciate it. I appreciate you and your energy, and you just over-deliver every single time. So I'm going to ask you to give us just a little bit more if you're cool with that. Before we take off, do you have just like one final tip that you can give us that we can use right now?
Yeah. My tip would be in our personal development community and in many spiritual communities, there's really such negative judgment on people who are having a hard time, who bad things happen to, whether we tell them that they're vibrating badly or whatever. There's a real, I think, punishment of people who are having a hard time. And what I want for you is I want you to turn that into your advantage, that whatever has been your area of struggle or pain, whether it's money or it's love or it's health or whatever it is, you have an opportunity to make that your ace in the hole. That is to make it useful, to make that the leaden human experience that is your spiritual gold, your key to the kingdom, and even the path to material gold and your purpose and your love and your happiness. So if you've been struggling, congratulations. Now you can turn it into a gift and you can give yourself an advantage. And if it worked for me, it can work for anybody.
Perfect. I love that. If it can work for Morgana because she told you her story, it can work for anybody. And I love that this is stuff that you have used for your own life and continue to use for your own life, and that makes it even more powerful. So again, everyone, that link is www.manifesteverythingnow.com/alchemy, spelled ALCHEMY. Definitely go check that out. All of you are absolutely extraordinary. I am just blessed to be able to be here with you. And Morgana, you are just fabulous, and I am blessed to be able to share you with all of these amazing people. So thank you all for being here. And until the next time, just keep manifesting. I'll talk to you all soon. Bye-bye.